Yeah. Puck is still in the pool as well, by the way. And if we're gonna go for more mobility for virtus.pro, then maybe even a Storm Spirit wouldn't be too bad. But I'm thinking they should be having a bit more stronger core, so... maybe something else. A Dragonite might not be too ideal, because that's... Nah, Dragonite could be okay, actually. Wouldn't mind that. For either team, by the way. There's the puck ban, as expected.
Turn to pick.
Let's see what Fnatic wants to have for that last slot, and if that reveals anything about what they're going to be putting mid. They could still pick up a mid hero, run Nagasiren as a support again. They could still pick up a support. Who knows? Visage, still in the pool. That would be a surprise. They can't pick up a Meepo anymore, sorry people. They go for a Razor instead. Razor is actually pretty good if you know that your enemy is only going to have one core. Because, I mean, Razor is going to drain the mana of Morphling. Not the mana, I mean the attack damage. And who's going to do the damage then? Well, not Morphling. Not Lion, not Chen, not Nature's Prophet perhaps. Later on in the game. But if it's later on in the game, then Morphling would probably have an Ethereal Blade that he tries to force Razor away with.
10 seconds.
You'll target him with it every time. By the way, may I just remind you that we actually have one strength hero in the pool right now. Alchemist is picked up, the only strength hero that we see on the map so far. Let's see if virtus.pro again ignores the strength category. Or if they pick it up. virtus.pro, even if they already know what they want to pick up, they could take this time to just decide how they're gonna lane things. They could even take this time to take more breaks, as we've seen them do in between the games. We'll see what they want. Come on. Could go Nature's Prophet off lane. But Nature's Prophet we've seen in mid before. I would like to see mid hero still. Lifestealer mid. Well, actually Lifestealer's banned. Actually they would also lose to Razor. Windrunner is gonna attempt to be... We saw a Windrunner Razor lane earlier today. It did not go well for the Windrunner. By any stretch. No, it was a terrible Windrunner mid lane against the Razor. We'll see if that's what they want to do though. But I think they won't want to. Maybe still Lion mid, but Lion up against the Razor is also not really good for the Lion. I think well, unless we're gonna have an Alchemist mid. Well, look at this. I mean, this is Fnatic already picking up their heroes. And that kinda reveals what they want to do with the Alchemist mid and the Razor off lane. And if that's the case, with Era Weaver, this is an aggressive trial and coming off with the Razor, Crystal Maiden, and Naga Siren. And now they can decide, you know what? Now we want this one there, this one there. They can just... You know, there is one part of me that really likes that you're able to do that, and the other one that thinks, you know what? That just sucks if you can do that. There's some teams that rotate it around a little bit more about who's playing which role, and that's really strong because it just has got some extra surprises. It can give your opponent team some extra surprises if you're going to be having someone else completely playing a different kind of hero on a different kind of lane, so that you kind of throw people off guard. I mean, the element of surprise is a very big thing here. But, I mean, this is kind of already showing. Did they swap it back though? No. For a second there I thought they might have, but nope. Can of course pick heroes up, try to throw your enemy off guard, and then swap it back later, as we've seen some teams do as well. But let's go over who's playing what, right? So first of all, before I go over the teams, I would like to remind you, virtus.pro, one game up in this best of 3. This is the second game. You're watching the winners bracket finals for the AMD Premier League. That's not true. You're watching the winners bracket finals for the Corsair Gaming Summer Tournament. Sorry, I casted the AMD Premier League the entire day, so I'm sure that can be forgiven. But virtus.pro, if they win this, they go through and they go play in the grand finals on a Friday. If Fnatic win this, they go to a third game, and if they win that one, then they will go to the grand finals on Friday. The loser of this best of 3 will still play on Thursday. in the loser bracket finals. Okay, so let's see who's playing what. 1000 Suns is actually crazy, or Tamar Wild will be playing the Windrunner.
The battle
It will be Arsart playing the Lion. No surprise there. He needs to be careful, but he'll be fine. And it will be NS that will take on his role as the Chen. And they will be a semi-safe trial lane. So basically it's a dual lane here. Arsart will therefore get a lot of chance to rotate around, and he might be sticking with NS just to farm with him. But I would like him to rotate around a little bit. Actually, ward placed on the high ground. They see NS. They don't see Arsart yet though, and they're actually gonna go for this impale upon the crystal main. They found their target. Can they slow it down? Is there something else? Shackle doesn't latch. Nice try though. No tail now taking some damage. Will be forced to take some regen. In comes the Razor from the side, and back comes the crystal main with the Nova, slowing 2 down, but nobody can be going in on it anymore. Trixie not coming from the other side, and that was already a little bit of aggression there. But before we're gonna continue on to this bottom lane, first of all, mid lane will be taken on by Illidan Airman. Storm Rage, Morphling will be his hero. And he's already taken a ton of harassment from that acid spray. He is actually morphed quite a bit into agility, so that's the reason why he's taking so much damage. Really doesn't have that much HPs. In the top lane we have got the Nature's Prophet again, of course. Xi plays that one, or Xe plays that one, no surprise. This is one of his signatures. So let's jump ourselves over to Fnatic. We've got Era on the Weaver. On the safe lane. Well, I say safe lane, but he is hanging out next to his enemy's tower. But he should be able to stay alive, should be able to win this lane. Like, if we look at the 2 heroes, Weaver should win the lane. In the meantime, in the mid lane, Hani, indeed, on his Alchemist. Lane on lane, I mean, with that Acid Spray, he does harass Morphling a little bit. But because of the range versus melee thing, Illidan should at least be able to outlast hit Alchemist. So far, not really the case just yet. But as time goes on, that should be what's happening. Depending on, of course, how these two teams, how these two players play their heroes. On the aggressive trialing for Fnatic, we've got No-Tail once again. This time he is the Naga Siren. Or I mean, again on the Naga Siren. This time he's pink, I meant to say, but I decided not to say that, but then I still said the start of the sentence. I know, it's awful. No-Tail! Test of Faith can still be there. That's a kill! That's first blood!
That was my first conversion.
Well... I like that someone called Born to Feed got an item for that one. No pun intended, but slightly awkward play by No-Tail. Questionable play, I can say that. So, the rest of the aggressive tri lane, which apparently is not that aggressive, consists of the Crystal Maid, played by Fly, and the Razor, played by Trixie, as we already saw. And let's see how aggressive they can actually get here, as the Alchemist is actually having a bit of a man fight here with Morphling, who is out of regen completely, so has to wait until the courier comes back, while Hani still had a salve and a tango. And this is trouble for Morphling though, but he knows that Hani actually has to walk towards him to hit him. That makes sense, but he doesn't have mana to do anything else. So as soon as he knows that he's got more than 120 mana, actually he's gonna have it now soon, too. He can charge up his stun if he wants to. Meantime, bottom lane also has some action going. Frostbite up on the Wild Wing Ripper. Razor gets shackled and might be actually dead. There he goes. Boom. There you go. Morphling is able to stay alive in the meantime. Got his bottle, got a salve, and is back to full HP. Crystal Main still goes down on the bottom lane. Quite surprising that she was still hanging around there. I thought she was getting out of there, but Fnatic, they're just throwing lives away on this bottom lane. It feels like they're not quite there. I don't know. Morphling taking quite a bit of harassment there from the unstable concoction. And No-Tail looks to be fine. I mean, there's a lot of disable on VirtusPro. It's not an easy tri-lane to be aggressive tri-laning against. You've got yourself a Shackle, you've got a Hex, and an Earth Spike. And on top of that, you've got quite a bit of burst from the Test of Faith if this Chen gets lucky. And a follow-up stun if he gets his Centaur in position. Which he should be able to, considering there's a lot of setup disables coming off from the rest of his team. So then you have got a Crystal Main that's fairly squishy, so she hangs back. You've got No-Tail that tries to find things, but he doesn't have an ensnare, and he only has a Riptide, so can't really set something up. As Crystal Main actually rotates middle. So the one that's supposed to be setting something up is forced to stand back because she's squishy. Because one initiation on her and she's probably dead. And the one that wants to initiate can't initiate because he was still level 1. And then you've got the one that wants to do damage who's just kind of a slave to the heroes that I want to set up things for him. As the stun comes out on Illidan, he is morphing into strength. Not anymore though, but he has got still 2 bottle charges, so won't actually die from this harassment. Static Link, Windrunner can get herself away. And this will be the battle of who gets face boots first, although for now it looks like Crazy will be the one to get the face boots first. Only actually has enough gold for it, so could actually buy it. The reason I say that is because normally on a Razor, if you play him in the mid lane or, you know, somewhere where you can actually get some more farm, he's only got 9 last hits, just to point that out, compared to Crazy's 18 or now 19 last hits. But normally if you play a Razor, you get some farm, and you make sure that you're faster than your enemy all the freaking time, because you can get that Static Link on and he can't escape. He can run, but he cannot hide. It's just that literally. KSI decides to TP out, should be able to do just that before he dies. Nicely done. Harassment, of course, coming from Fnatic. We were expecting that to happen, so no surprise there. In the meantime, in the mid lane, Crystal Maiden is still hanging around. Takes some levels from the Alchemist for that as well, by the way. That's, of course, something that
Radiant structures are fortified.
is actually not really all too good for Handy. But he is level 6, he shouldn't complain. Level 6 for the Windrunner as well, fairly even on levels. I say level 6 for the Windrunner, now only realizing that, of course, the Morphling was the one that was up against him. Morphling, who is now level 6 as well. And everybody level 6 apparently. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, everybody level 6 apart from the Naga Siren, who is still level 2. Crystal Maiden is even higher level than her, but that's because she hang around mid. She actually gets an Invis rune. Might be able to set something up with it, but she walks right over a sentry ward, so that is going to be Illidan trying to get away. Maybe he thought she was visible. Maybe he didn't think that she was invisible. Nice, he should know. He has got the weave form. In theory, he should be living, but in comes the ensnare. In comes the weave form. Should be keeping him up. Yep, and just fine. Chen, in the meantime, continuing to farm. He's got 1k gold in his bank. Probably looking for a fast mechanism for his team. He's got now level 6 as well, so the Hand of God is present. In the meantime, Hani's 30 for 6, so he's doing really well in the last hits. He's actually keeping up with the highest farmer, who is his teammate, Era, on the Weaver, who TP's bottom to continue farming there up against the Morphling. Maybe they can actually take him down. Maybe they can take down a Lion, who's still level 5. I mean, it's 3-0 in favor of virtus.pro, so Fnatic feel the pressure. I mean, losing your aggressive trial is not that bad if you know that you are winning the other two. Which wasn't really the case, but at least they won top. Impale there, weave from over the top. That's gonna be one Crystal Maiden. Dead. Hand of God comes through for virtus.pro, and it is No Tail that tries to run. Era that still wants to try to go for a kill. Should be able to get this as well. Unless there's gonna be a shack one. Era actually has to give it up. There's still a weave form ready. If Illidan really wants to throw it out. He just goes for harassment instead. No Tail still alive there. Just goes for last hits instead. And TP out for the Lion, no surprise. Gets back to base in safety. Lion has got 2 of the 4 kills, by the way. Quite impressive. A regen rune for Illidan. He has the bottle. He can use it. And Hera finds no runes. Shame for him. I mean, I just said, I mean, if you lose your aggressive trial lane, which like Fnatic didn't really win their aggressive trial lane. They didn't really lose that hard. They did have, of course, their Razor die once, but, you know, it could have been worse. But as long as Era got free farm, I mean, they still had something going, and they slowed down the farm of the Windrunner a little bit there as well. As, whoa, and there. They know that that weave form is on cooldown. He's morphing into strength. Should be able to get himself out. Supports are on the way, at least the Chen is. And Illidan, morphing into strength again. Still has a weave form, can get himself out. What is he doing? Why can't he weave form? He could weave form, he really could. I saw it. He saw it. He gave his life away. Too greedy. Could have just continued running. Looks like Arsard might be in a bit of a tough spot. Finds himself a Crystal Maiden. Goes Frostbitten. Static Link, because there's so much attack damage to drain from this Lion. Nice Impale though. But yeah, he's still dead. Crystal Maiden level 4. Takes quite a pounding from Nature's Prophet, but KSI is not actually thinking about TPing in. Even if he was thinking about it, he couldn't actually do it because he doesn't have any mana. He'll go for the Hand of Midas again by the looks of it. And it's Fnatic that's getting ahead on the farm. With their 2 cores, Alchemist as well as the Weaver. Illidan, of course, we know that he can catch up. We know that he can catch up as well with the Hand of Midas. I mean, there's 3 cores right below Fnatic. Although, of course, Nature's Prophet, Razor not doing too bad either, especially not since he can now free farm here on this top lane. I say free farm if Lion wouldn't be there constantly to harass him. Arsart, almost level 6.
Dire's middle tower.
And when he has that, he might be looking to move away from that top lane. NS still building towards that mechanism. Maybe he wants to go for a bit of a push. He's got 2 of those trolls. It's very nice for pushing. And I mean, there's only a Weaver here together with a Naga Siren. Okay, Riptide and Shikushi are quite nice for counter pushing. But who knows what they can get with this one. They do need C to join them though. And but he does have mana. He can go. He can join. Maybe a TP in from Arsart if he gets him level 6 in the mid lane. But he doesn't have a TP scroll actually. No, Teo and Era playing it very safe here on the bottom lane. Of course, they have that ward there, so they did see the crystal or the gem. 4 heroes on their way. Lion doesn't need to TP if he can walk there. I don't blame him. Walks up to Era, looks for an impale, can't find it. They don't have any detection either with them, do they? I mean, they have got that ward there. They've got 1 sentry up on Chen, but you can't just place it at random. Weaver very fast to get away under the away from the sentry ward if he sees it getting placed.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
More people coming in to defend. Also have Hani hanging around. He's got his Medallion of Courage. Now, I like this build. And he's gonna charge up stun. Looking for it. There, yeah, that's gonna be Lion already dead. Hand of God only saves him for a little while longer, but he's the first one to die. In comes Trixie, and there's the song. Send back Steel for his carry by Chen. The one to fall together with the Lion. I really love this build by Hani. We've seen it before. We've seen it this entire weekend actually coming up from a lot of Asian teams as well. The Medallion combined up with the Unstable Concoction and the Acid Spray is just, it's just terrifying. You charge up your Unstable Concoction and even while it's in the air, when you throw it, you can put down your Acid Spray and your Medallion and it hurts like hell with that minus armor up. Lion, you saw his HP drop from almost full to almost low, lowest. And with lowest, I mean almost dead. Era with the Ring of Health and an Invis rune. Another llama from hell comes to bring him his items. And a Stumpy for the other team. Okay, Zai. So with this Hand of Midas just trying to catch up. Trying to get back on his feet. Trying to get on his feet, rather. And of course, stay ahead of that Razor. That's his goal. So far, so good. Razor was building towards BKB, most likely. Well, I say most likely, but secretly I'm hoping it's gonna be Naganums. But safe bet would be BKB. No tail, charging up the stun. There's the ensnare, and that's gonna be one dead Chen. Boom. Oh, ninja. So it was 4-0 at some point, and now it's 5-4. 4-5. How did that happen? Fnatic took 5 kills in a row, and VirtusPro wasn't able to get a single one in return. They're still happily farming, though. 4 heroes of Fnatic middle. Might have our second tower of the game going down here if they continue on like this. Especially if there's not going to be any defense coming in from VirtusPro. They might look to take down their own tower though, as in their tier 1 bottom where they are standing right now. But the tier 1 middle is actually a bit more strategic point, so it would be a more important pick-off to have for Fnatic if they actually get that. But they don't want to lose their own tier 1 and they're actually going to try to force out a fight. Era coming in from the side, they don't have any wards up. Fnatic doesn't have any wards up near the river. They only have these where they're standing right now. Fnatic, no tail, doesn't have a song. That would have been the setup to have. And let's see if they can still get something. Era comes in from the side. Bugs gets cleaned out. And Fnatic don't get anything. What would you give for a song right then? Tower still lives though, and that's gonna be one of the more important things. A lot of wasted times for Fnatic though. Okay, Zai continues farming in his enemy's jungle, going for the Shadow Blade. Standard build, we saw it previous game, we see it almost every game. I say almost because it's not always the same, really depends on how much he is able to split push in a game. And how much his team, for example, would need a mechanism. But considering that Chen already builds one, he doesn't need to build a mechanism, so Shadow Blade is then the most common item to have. We've got a 4-staff complete up on Crazy. Tame My Wild, who hasn't died yet this game. I mean, there might be 5 kills up on Fnatic, but 2 of those are already up on Arsart, and 2 of those are up on an S. And then there's one on the Morphling, of course. See? As well as Crazy. Not dying yet. Hani in the meantime taking down some Ancients. Himself some extra gold with that one. 2100 gold. I'm kind of curious to see what he's building with that. If he wants to go for a Shadow Blade himself. I mean, there's already a Weaver on his team, of course. I mean, in terms of your enemy team buying sentries and such. Maybe a gem at some point. Do you really want to already be countered before you have your item? Ow. Sorry. Looks like we're at a bit of an impasse again. We've seen this before. Fnatic and VirtusPro in a previous game as well. Was fairly hesitant about their play. Hesitant about whether they should be the one to go in right now, whether they are the one to get ahead, or if it's maybe the other team that should be. Previous game was VirtusPro that in the end got ahead. And Fnatic waiting too long before playing it aggressive, and there still goes the Shadow Blade. This game they have to make sure that they don't wait too long. Morphling building towards the Lincoln, slowly but steadily. There comes a song. Tower at least gonna get denied. TP coming in. They want to try and take down this Morphling. He doesn't have a replicate up. He can weave form himself to the other side of the trees. Gets it out as well. And runs. In comes the Impale, stopping Trixie from following him. We still have Crystal Maiden going down, but that is actually a kill for VirtusPro. Finger of Death. Trixie actually takes a ton of damage from that in the Eye of the Storm. Not enough to do some damage in return. And actually, VirtusPro, they turned this fight around like crazy. In comes the Impale and Power Shot to finish it off. Everybody being around here. VirtusPro, perfect coordination. Crystal Main going down on the other side of the tower. In comes Alchemist, stuns himself because he can, and he just gives himself away. Like, as a kill. That was a bit awkward, to call it. Yeah, that was awkward. Very awkward even. So VirtusPro get themselves 4 kills on the board. They only don't get the Weaver, but Weaver was still farming bottom, so there's no real surprise that he wasn't there. Weaver was actually getting harassed quite a bit. Hex as well. And if you look at this, I mean, this is what Arsart can do in his own disable time, just with right clicks. Imagine if he would have Finger of Death. That would have been a kill. That would have been a kill for Arsart, solo up against one of the higher carries of Fnatic, one of the top farmers of Fnatic, the second highest for their team. Regeneration. And I mean, Tower still got denied in the top lane, but VirtusPro, I mean, they had 4 towers denied against them in the previous game, right? I don't think they're gonna be sad with one deny right now. And tower down is a tower down, meaning that Fnatic doesn't really have that much freedom anymore to farm inside their own jungle, because as we see, Illidan is taking up residence here. And they just don't have the control to be there fast if someone needs help. They don't have the wards to make it safe. I mean, they do have them, but they don't have them placed. But they're actually going to try to take down Roshan. With all this minus armor, they should definitely be able to do this. And maybe the VirtusPro is going to realize that this is going on, but they don't have any wards up for themselves. And it doesn't look like they have any clue whatsoever, or looking to find something in return for taking this, giving this Roshan away. VirtusPro will get this one.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
And that's gonna be one Aegis. Going the way of the Weaver. If he does find himself boxed in with the Lion, then this time he might die once. Alchemist charging up his stun in the Shadow Blade, looking for someone to throw it on, but he's gonna stun himself again. And Fnatic, I mean, after that team fight top, they had the initiation and they didn't end up taking the game, obviously. Taking the fight, rather. So they're probably a little bit more careful with next time they find a fight. They do smoke up, go into their enemy's jungle, looking for a pickup on Illidan, but he's actually gone again in 9 seconds, so I don't think they're going to be getting him. If he actually goes away, and there he goes. While the sun is flying towards him, it will be continuing to flying towards him. We're going to follow it, it's fun. He'll find it soon. He'll get stunned soon. Should be getting stunned soon, come on. How long? Thank you. Tier 1 tower is still standing. In the meantime, Fnatic will make sure that it doesn't stand very much longer, though. Unless they want to try and take it down, actually.
Bottom tower is under attack.
They might need to TP top, because that's going to be a tier 2.
Tower is under attack.
Getting traded for tier 1, that's not good. I mean, yeah, VirtusPro lose their tier 1 bottom, but getting a tier 2 top in return is definitely not bad for VirtusPro. Weaver, though, with taking the last hit on the tower, gets himself highest on net worth again. It's a pretty minor difference, but still, difference is a difference. He's got his Lincolns, as does the Morphling. And of course, these two heroes can have about the same item build at the start, or at least about the same, yeah, about the same item build. Both have treads. One has an Aquila, the other one only has the Wraith Band. And both have a magic stick, no wand. Alchemist charging up a stun, looking for a Chen perhaps, but will just end up stunning himself again. Nah, it's logical. He's looking for pickoffs. If we would have found Nature's Prophet, then it would probably be a dead Nature's Prophet with that much minus armor. Maybe not. Doesn't really have that low HP, but you never know. Can't get it. Okay, Zai. 1400 gold in his inventory. Still, I mean, look at the net worth. It's pretty funny to see that all the 3 cores of VirtusPro are so close together. Like all within 100 gold of each other. Actually, not anymore. Well, thank you for ruining it. Oh, Morphling. He actually doesn't have a replicate up. Nice Lincolns. Song still interrupts TP. They know where he is. They've got the vision with that little buggy thing. Courier showing up. Frostbite there. To the low ground. Here comes an ensnare. They know he's there, but there's not enough damage. Now in comes the Alchemist. In comes the stun. There goes Illidan. Nicely orchestrated by Fnatic. Really taking high effort to get that Morphling down. But at least VirtusPro doesn't go home empty-handed because they take down a tier 2 top. Middle. So easy to say T, but it was middle instead. TTM. So, only one tower left standing on the side of Fnatic. Only the tier 2 bottom. Still pretty important tower as it does give them access to Roshan. I mean, the whole Roshan advantage that you talk about when you talk about Radiant versus Dire is the fact that